Okay, we have a green box, we have a live counter ticking up, so we should now be live, which of course means welcome back to the Storytime Network. Today, we're mainly going to be discussing basically our ground rules for when we do the One Piece character tier list in the future, because that has been something of a bone of contention there.
A few bones of contention there, honestly.
Before
It's
that,
hard.
yeah. Before that, though, just spoiler warning for today's Shonen Jump chapters, in particular Jujutsu Kaisen and maybe MHA, because we're probably going to be talking about that before. And if you're at all interested in what I'm doing on the screen, I'm going to be playing Rugby 08 because...
You were in mourning, right?
A little bit, yeah. England lost. It was closer than it had any right to be, and that made me sad.
So much worse when it's close.
Yeah. I'm not playing
Depends on your perspective, but yeah.
I'm not playing as England, though, because Jack has requested Ireland, so... But I'm also gonna say fuck it and pick my own team.
I do appreciate the respect to my heritage. Give it a go, laddie. For some reason, whenever I try to do an Irish accent, it comes very close to a Scottish accent. I think it's just because they're very similar accents in general.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I don't know about that.
Relatively speaking, they are pretty similar accents. Like, I could see the argument saying, like, maybe a Yorkshire accent is closer to the Scottish accent than the Irish accent is to a Scottish accent, but, like, a lot of accents from the Isles are very close to one another, especially, like, the Celtic accents. You know?
Yeah, hang on, our boy has arrived. And
yes.
I just love him so much.
Gotta love that boy.
Oh, I love that he's self-aware.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
Look, you finished the chapter, right?
Yes.
I will laugh my ass off if Takaba clowns on Kenjaku and actually somehow manages to beat him. He probably won't win, but I will laugh my ass off if he manages to thoroughly clown him.
I will accept nothing less than Kenjaku running for his life.
I think what's gonna happen is Takaba's gonna stall him long enough for Yuta and probably Maki to arrive. That would be
it would be so much more funny if he just look. We deserve this as a community after what Akutami did to us.
Oh yeah, no, we deserve it after all the bullshit in that last big fight.
And
no, I'm not counting the jobbery that happened after as a big fight.
I also really.
You mean how Gojo was a jobber?
No, not Gojo. Kashimo.
No, Gojo was a jobber. Let's be real. He was a jobber.
A jobber would get instantly wharfed, like Kashimo did.
Yeah, like Gojo did.
That's not really what happened. If he could have been instantly wharfed by strong cleave, that would have happened at the very beginning.
Here's the thing. He won round 1, and then he got instantly wharfed in round 2. Is how I see it. And that's just as bad. Look! You do not defend Akutami on that.
I'm not defending Akutami on that. I'm saying, like, that's not how the fight played out, though.
He might as well have.
That's not the same thing, Fuzzy, and you know it.
Yes, but I'm not being rational right now, so sue me. Don't actually sue me. I don't have the money for that.
Most people don't have the money for that. I don't think I have the money for that.
Just think about how There's a legitimate case to be made that with some cases you'll spend less money just hiring a hitman than actually resolving a court case.
Unfortunately, hiring a hitman is a crime.
Not if you hire more hitmen. Then
That sounds like a waste of money.
No, then it's organized crime.
Sounds like a waste of money. Regardless, I do hope that Takuma clowns Kenjaku, because, again, that would be just so fucking funny.
It's what we deserve as fans.
I mean, even this much is just glorious, because it's just this fucking dumbass who's genuinely just survived a hit from Kenjaku.
Well, that's the thing, right? Is like, he literally has the most broken power in the series, canonically.
One of them, yeah. I do like that Kenjaku has underestimated multiple people at this point, because he's, like, cocky now. Because he also does not think much of Yuta either.
To be fair, Yuta's probably gonna get jobbed.
I don't
There
think
aren't
so.
many more hero characters left, Fuzzy. They can't all get jobbed.
Yeah, like,
Not if
look,
there's gonna be a fucking hero's victory at the end of this, which, you know...
you're making a lot of assumptions there, Mel.
Yes, the series will end with Sukuna looking out over the corpses of everyone and saying that, yes, this truly was our Jujutsu Kaisen. I will not apologize for that terrible joke.
Look, all I'm saying is, Akutami is great at a lot of things. Satisfying conclusions for characters is not one of them.
No, depends.
Yuki.
Oh yeah, no, that was bullshit.
Literally, he will introduce super cool characters and then kill them off in their first appearance.
Yes, he has done that multiple times.
Yes,
but that was not Yuki's first appearance.
Jack. At that point, you're just crossing hairs. It was her first fight. It was the first appearance where she did something other than say hello and say, yes, I exist.
Regardless. Mill has voiced his theory on what he thinks is going to happen going forward.
We've also, like, sort of established the spectrum for what we want from authors. Because Mill is happy with what he got. Where our boy, whose name I don't know his name.
Takaba.
I don't need to know his name.
I'm giving you his name anyways.
Yes, but I'm not going to remember it. On purpose.
That sounds like a you problem.
So, our boy, Mill is just happy he's there. Jack would be happy if he can just, like, clown on
Good old
Kenjaku
Kenny.
a little bit. And I will only be happy if he either beats him or forces him to start running. So yeah, Jack, you want to open up, like, a Google Doc?
I already have one. I posted the link in the Discord.
Where's
You'll just need to
Discord?
scroll up a little bit.
Which channel?
Main cast.
Okay, so here is my problem with just ranking them based on how engaging they are.
There are a lot of perfectly fun characters that aren't particularly engaging.
And there's a lot of engaging characters that exist to be hate sinks, and as a result, it looks really bad if we rank them too highly.
That's the thing, though. Like, trying to, like, do we rate a character low just because they're a hate sink, or do we rate them
No.
because they do a good job being a hate sink?
What I recommend is we have 2 separate tiers. One of them is the Absalom tier, which is characters who are hate sinks who are not engaging. And the other is the World Noble tier, which is characters who are hate sinks but are, like, engaging. Or, like, who would you put in that tier?
So besides the World Nobles,
Or rather,
Spandam.
no. Who would you name in that tier?
Spandam.
That tier. Real. He's not very engaging. He's like a spoiled brat. That's literally his entire bag.
Okay. Orochi.
I mean, second verse, same as the first. Like,
Orochi actually has a compelling reason behind why he's such a piece of shit, though.
that's true, but it comes so far after his introduction as a character that it kind of loses impact.
I don't agree. What do you think then, Fuzzy? Who do you think that should be named after? We don't have to name the tiers after characters, you know.
Kainu.
Would you say Akainu is a hate sink, though?
What could you call him other than a hate sink?
A Knight Templar.
What could you call him other than a... that's what I said, Jack. Knight Templars are often, like, hate sink characters.
Not wrong.
So,
Again, we don't really have to name the tier lists after characters, though.
True,
We would only name the Absalom tier list because of precedent.
Okay, but if we find a really good example, we should... Oh, you know what? Big Mom.
Big Mom's not a hate sink, though. She's just
Is she not?
No, she's a very entertaining villain.
She does eat children, though.
Oh, yeah, no, she's vile, but she's entertaining.
That once.
And she didn't do it on
That we
purpose, to be
know of.
fair. She didn't do it on purpose.
And it's only once that we know of.
Regardless, it was not intentional. But yes, we should come up with names for the various tiers, though.
Yeah, if we're gonna name the Absalom tier, we're gonna go all in and name everyone.
Well,
Oh, okay. If we're going to count, what's his face? Orochi as having an engaging and relevant backstory. Do you know who works even better as a hate sink?
who?
And with an engaging reason and backstory?
Who?
Arlong.
Ooh, Arlong's good.
Yeah, because, like, he is absolutely a monster when we get introduced to him in the series.
Oh yeah, no,
But,
he is
like,
objectively quite evil.
he has, like, an extremely compelling backstory in that he's, like, you know, like, it's the whole racism slavery thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole thing there.
What I think we should do is, like, I would say that what we could do is we could do the top tier as peak character, and the tier below that is best supporting actor actress. Unless you want to adjust something else. Or we could have multiple tier names.
No, I think that's okay. You wanna, like, put that in the doc?
Yeah, I will as soon as able to open the doc again, because there we go. Okay, tier names. So we go with peak character. God damn it, no, stop that. Best supporting. And we can work our way down from there.
There also needs to be the tier that is just solidly mid.
So I'd say mid-tier should go down a few tiers below best supporting.
Okay.
Because there are still a couple other tiers between, like, decent but not a standout, basically. How would we make that a shorter sentence?
Hmm.
That would probably be a couple tiers below best supporting.
I still like the idea of naming them after people.
I don't think it works for all of them, though, is the thing, and it'll kind of tip our hand as to who's going in what tier.
Only for the tier namers.
Regardless, it would also be a declaration ahead of time as to who we're putting in what tier, and that might change as we actually talk through the characters.
That's true.
Oh, below best supporting, we should put love to hate.
Good tier, yeah.
Because that would work great as a villain and hate sync tier for sure. For like the best of those, unless it, like they're characters we want to put in peak character because they are that good of a villain. But yeah,
no, I agree with that. Yeah.
So
basically, we need to have this is the best thing I could have thought of. We need to have them actually have like names as opposed to like the tiers need to have names as opposed to just being X, Y, or Z.
Yeah, no, like having names as opposed to just like alphanumeric designations helps a lot because it basically says what you're aiming for with each individual tier.
Yeah, so
below love to hate, style but no substance.
Okay, I can agree with that. There are characters that have really good designs that are just like nothing characters.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then one or two, and then another tier below that, and then mid. Should we call it mid, or should we call it aggressively mediocre?
I'm honestly okay with either. But like aggressively mediocre sounds funnier.
It does sound funnier, doesn't it?
So let me think. How many tiers is that?
That's 5. I think we should put one between love to hate and style but no substance. Because that would be the upper mid tier, basically, between those two.
Okay, yeah.
But I'm not sure what to name that one. Maybe standout performances?
Fun, but irrelevant.
Fun but irrelevant? I can go with that.
Which I'm sure you know the kind of characters I'm talking about.
Alright, aggressively mediocre.
This went far faster than I was expecting. I'm not sure what we're gonna do now.
Well, we can still debate over if we should add more and how we should rank them. But there's still a couple other tiers we can do as well.
No, like having this clear-cut set of categories is honestly good enough for me.
I mean, I still think we should put a couple categories below aggressively mediocre.
No, that's fair. Yeah.
Oh, I
but,
know.
Like, mhm.
Below aggressively mediocre, we could do pointless and unmemorable. Pointless / unmemorable.
Yes, I was gonna say there should be a forgettable tier.
Pointless / forgettable.
I feel like those are all almost like
That's a lot of minor
synonyms.
characters. Well, no, pointless means that they're irrelevant in the story. Forgettable means they like don't leave any impact on you like emotionally, but they could still have a role in the story. So they're different, but like effectively they have the same impact. And of course, below that is Absalom.
Well, no, below that is Arlong, and below that is Absalom.
Arlong is love to hate, isn't he?
Oh, you know what? Yeah, yeah. Okay, I can live with that.
Like some villains are so engagingly vile that you just can't help but enjoy hating them. On the other end of the spectrum, you have
fair.
Absalom. There are a few people who are going to go into Absalom territory, but it's going to be a small assortment. But is there any tier you think we should put between the bottom two tiers that we have right now?
Not off the top of
annoying.
well, you mean the
annoyance?
You mean the Momonosuke tier?
I don't think we should name all the tiers after characters, Fuzzy, because that would make it too difficult to parse out what we mean. I'd say
we can refer to them
annoyance.
informally as the characters, but
yeah, okay, I can live with that.
So like below pointless, forgettable, genuine annoyance. And then there's Absalom. Unless you think there's a tier that should go between those two.
No, that's fine, I think.
And we can adjust as needed on the stream itself, but this is a good starting point at the very least.
You okay there, Jack?
Yeah, I'm fine. Just gotta clear my throat a little bit. What's really bugging me is I have a headache that I'm trying to, drink some fluids to kind of get that to go away, but you know how it is. Dehydration headaches are a real pain.
yeah.
Yeah, they really are.
Especially if you get sick at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I am extremely prone to dehydration headaches.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Mm-hmm.
Could it be the whiskey?
I actually have not drank whiskey in several days.
Is this joke what I think it is?
It's about me being a drunkard, then probably.
Well, I was gonna say it's more related to your Irish heritage, as you've professed.
One is the other.
Okay, I like that. That's a turn of phrase I haven't heard before, and I don't know why, and I love it.
What, one is the other?
Yeah.
I mean, it works.
No, it does. That's why I like it.
But yeah, no, but any ground rules we want to set down besides what we have for the tier names? Because I don't the way we've laid out the tier names makes it pretty clear how we're going to be categorizing them.
Yeah, that's why it's like it's good that we have it so clear cut, honestly.
So we'll characters will be ranked based on how well they fit into each individual tier.
And with that, we're done in 25 minutes. And most of that wasn't even spent actually discussing the tier list.
I know, right? It's wild how approaching something from a different angle can make it work so well.
Look, don't patronize me, Jack.
I'm not patronizing you. I'm also
No.
speaking of myself.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Because I was initially thinking we need to go out from a rules angle, but I was like, wait, tier names will work better.
Yeah, I distinctly recall that being a suggestion I had, but for some reason we just never elaborated on it last time we.
Yeah, no, we didn't.
I think it might have come at the end of the discussion where we were all like, we should probably just
We'll
take
just
time,
table this for later.
Yeah. That honestly was probably it. Now that I think about it.
Most likely. But yes, we can discuss other things now.
The silence is deafening.
I mean, the primary thing that I wanted to discuss was why is it that people can't seem to find a happy medium between antagonists and protagonists?
In what
Because
way?
most of the time they end up being very divisive characters.
Well, yeah, in the sense that it's very hard to balance protagonists and antagonists such that they are of similar and this is even like let's go approach this from the power scaling angle first of all. It's very hard to not have a situation where either the protagonists or the antagonists are OP. Right?
Having them be balanced against each other in terms of combat abilities is always difficult.
Yeah, and it's just like, even though it's like just a good thing overall.
I mean, the thing is, like, most of the time people enjoy underdog stories, which is why the antagonists are almost always stronger than the protagonists. But yeah, having a stronger antagonist is not necessarily in of itself a bad thing. But having a protagonist who's too overpowered runs the risk of, creating a Mary Sue.
And you have the opposite happening in a lot of modern shonen.
The villain Sue. Those are fun.
Yes, it's not like we've been talking about a series with one of those for, however many
I mean, let's be
chapters
honest.
now.
2 of them.
Oh, you're right. You're right, and I hate it.
I think One Piece has more or less struck a good balance.
Again, the Georg issue.
Yes, One Piece is Shonen Georg.
Honestly, just writer's Georg in many respects.
That's really how it is, isn't it?
It do look like that sometimes, yes.
Yeah.
You
Very
know how
funny,
dogs is and all that.
But yes, honestly, going into detail on all the ways in which One Piece is an outlier in terms of shonen is like kind of wild to think about. Because outside of JoJo, there hasn't been a single long-running shonen series that's been on for quite as long as One Piece. And JoJo is split up into parts.
Detective
JoJo
Conan.
is also... Look. First of all, Conan doesn't count as a series. Conan is a fever dream that when it ends, so does the universe.
Is Conan a shonen?
Yeah. What else would it be?
Seinen because of all the murders?
No.
No.
The
Murder
child-
does not make it seinen.
The child
fair
protagonist
enough.
makes it a shonen.
If murder made something the seinen, then half the shonen that we know and love would.
You're right. But yeah, no. Yeah, no, you're right. Conan is an anomaly as well, but in a different way than One Piece. Because Conan is like one of those things that is stalled forever in its status quo.
Mm.
Also, look, I get that they're like both mentally adults, but the author wears that particular fetish on his sleeve.
What?
You know what?
I'm not gonna say it.
Showed
I mean, yes.
If somebody doesn't say it, I have to say it.
Yep. Oh, that's fair. But yes, no, One Piece is very much an anomaly in terms of a lot of other barometers, though. Because there are not that many series out there that have been around as long as One Piece. Even if you include, like, other anomalies like Conan, those ones have a much different format than One Piece. Because most of those are very much like status quo based mystery of the week / arc type thing.
Ippo?
Whereas, was that?
Ippo? Does Ippo count?
Ippo is weird, isn't it? Because it's like...
Is Ippo a shonen? I think it's a shonen.
It is, but it's weird in the sense that it doesn't quite fall. It's more similar to JoJo than anything else. Maybe not in terms of quality, though that an argument can be made for that, but because it's like doesn't it have like different protagonists over time, and it's got like a whole time progression thing?
I think so.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, it's not as clear cut of a series, certainly. So yeah, Ippo is much more ambiguous, I think.
Yeah, Ippo's a weird one for sure. Yeah. Again, not many series that are like that. I also go on Ippo for distinguishing itself, but at the same time, it's still Ippo.
Wait a second, did that that tackled CTE before it was cool?
Yep.
That's pretty neat.
Because, like, it's like an incredible... Okay, I don't know how I feel about this, because you know how I feel about realism.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that with as much of vehemence and vitriol as I can muster. But it is very unique in that that series straight up has the protagonist essentially suffer from what is almost unambiguously CTE.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, like, quite revolutionary if you think about it.
It is.
But yeah, I'm just like, huh. It's not something a lot of series will have the sheer testicular fortitude to do.
No, you're right. A lot of them don't.
Most of them, in fact.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Almost like that's some sort of incredibly sensitive and relevant issue in the modern day.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I remember a lot of I remember there being a lot of discussion amongst not a lot of discussion, but I remember hearing about the whole scandal with concussions in the NFL from several years back, and how like the scientists who figured out how bad the concussion issue in the NFL was like hardcore pressured by the higher ups within the football league to just ignore the results of his research and just like brush it under the rug.
Corruption in a major economic venue? What are you talking about?
You don't have to try so hard to be sarcastic, Fuzzy. I get it. It's not incorrect.
And then there was what happened in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
What happened in wrestling?
Chris Benoit.
Oh yes, right.
As someone who isn't a big wrestling person, could you explain for me?
So I don't think there's ever been any real confirmation, but it is suspected that due to CTE and
CTE related complications are what led to Chris Benoit killing his entire family and then himself.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is. Oh boy. It's exactly as bad as it sounds. And it sounds pretty bad.
Yeah.
It does sound very bad.
And in an unfortunate set of circumstances, WWE might have done a tribute show before they learned what actually happened.
I remember that. Oh God.
I mean, you can't blame them if they didn't know what happened.
No. I actually listened to a podcast on this just the other day. I am not kidding you. And that podcast did bring up something very interesting. A lot of the people involved in that tribute were acting very cagey. Like, there's a suspicion that they knew something was going on.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I remember that, though. That's... oh, God.
Yeah.
That was a nightmare.
Yeah.
And people wonder why toxic masculinity is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the root of a lot of the problems in the sports ball industry, isn't it?
Yes.
Because apparently, if you want to play sport, you have to be a big, manly man. Which totally makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Definitely makes sense.
But yeah, I find it very, very interesting how prevalent sort of casual dismissal of trauma and mental health issues can be. And in this case, it's not even just like limited to physical trauma or emotional trauma, rather. Is literally we're talking about physical trauma is a problem, and it's
yep.
Like I don't even know where to begin, honestly.
From the beginning.
No, everyone knows you have to begin in the middle, finish at the end, and then start at the middle.
Naturally.
So on the subject of institutionalized issues in human society, that's not going to be a dicey subject at all.
Oh, definitely not.
How do you all feel about, and I'm trying to pick something that will not get us immediately cancelled, I don't know, frogs.
Frogs are cool.
Frogs are cool.
Now, here's the question. And this is... The reason I bring up frogs is because in our modern landscape of rampant misinformation, we have to be careful that we don't allow too many things to slip past the radar, and yet Alex Jones is still somehow relevant. Discuss.
What is there to discuss? Bigots keep him in power.
You know...
Isn't he getting, like, sued out of all of his money at this point?
It's still an ongoing case, but it's like... Okay, how do you think that's gonna shake out?
He's been losing literally every case he has so far, in no small part due to his own fuck-ups. So, I don't think it's going to continue going all that well for him.
Which, you know, is ideal.
Mm-hmm. Like, at one stage, his lawyer literally sent, like, dozens of, damning, text messages to, the opposing counsel.
Yeah, that was really funny.
It was extremely funny. But yeah, no, I don't think things are going to go well for him for the rest of the cases he's in, because the evidence against him is overwhelming. He is a public figure who has used his very public platform to be a jackass. And
Absolutely vile, yes.
yes. And like, it's kind of hard to, you know, pretend you didn't do that when there is so much evidence out there that you very much did.
I mean, if we're talking about, like, dickhead podcasters, the one that I'm confused is still around and is genuinely popular. Joe Rogan.
Right! Yeah, people don't talk about him as much, but he is just, like... He is surprisingly, like, depressingly mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I think the thing with Joe Rogan is that, by comparison, he seems reasonable compared to most of the people he has on.
that is the thing, isn't it? Is like he has this veneer of
Respectability
yes,
and sanity.
He does at least make the habit of calling out people when they're putting out obvious information on his show. But it's when it's less obvious that it becomes an issue. Because I do remember there being an incident where he just straight up fact-checked someone and said, like, you overrepresented this by, like, several orders of magnitude. Stop saying bullshit.
At the same time, something nootropic stacks. So, like...
He does have this image of respectability that has definitely prevented him from being, like, viewed as harshly as a lot of the worst cases out there.
But he absolutely should be, is the thing.
Yes, no, that is the core issue, isn't it? Is that, like, he is not nearly as respectable as he seems to be to many people.
I mean, what gets me is some people thinking like Ben fucking Shapiro should be given any respect whatsoever when he's like a hawker of bullshit and overall a piece of trash.
Okay. So, Ben Shapiro is just like the idiots, but there's another person who has a larger following than he should by any stretch of the imagination, and the reason for that is his
Is what?
his credentials, but the person, well, alleged person I'm referring to, of course, is Jordan Peterson.
Oh yeah, no, fuck Jordan Peterson.
I
The man
literally,
spouts bullshit.
yes, but like literally in one of my actual upper year psychology courses, one of the students who seemed like a perfectly reasonable individual otherwise brought up Jordan Peterson as like some form of like actual authority figure, and I'm just like, no.
People think that because
And
he
you know
has a
what's
psychology degree.
Yes, and you know what's funny? My professor immediately was like, no.
Go on your professor.
Yes. The prof was immediately like, Also, if I had a nickel for every time I had a pregnant psychology teacher who had to leave like before the end of the semester, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it is a little weird that it happened twice.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That is weird.
is odd.
Yeah, I'm kind of just like, I especially remember the one that happened in high school, because there was a thing that happened related to that prof.
Oh boy.
Y'all know I have something of a fondness for dark humor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
In hindsight, perhaps not a great idea to make a joke of that variety when in presence of pregnant teacher.
I'm not sure I want to know the details.
It's like not no, it is nothing at anyone's expense. It was a joke at my own expense, but it was the sort of dark joke that generally people are like, are you okay? But like, rather than going, are you okay, my professor immediately was like, call the cops. Well, not the cops, but she did report me to the principal.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know. That's only happened once, though. So,
Only the 1 nickel for you.
yes.
So on a different subject, do you want to talk about the bullshit going on in the English voice acting industry right now?
Oh God, tell me the juicy details, please.
Basically, a couple of
Crave
weeks
it.
ago, couple of weeks ago, Anaris Quinones, I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce that fully, got cast as Yoruichi in Bleach, which would recast because she was voiced by a voice actor called Wendy Lee back when Bleach was first airing. And it was seen as quite a good move because Anaris is a very good voice actress, and she is a person of color, as is Yoruichi is considered a person of color.
It's very ambiguous with Bleach, but that's just because Bleach is weird in general, and you can't really.
But yes, it was seen as a mostly positive change, except if you're a racist bigot.
Yes.
Who complained?
Oh no, my waifu is voiced by a person whose existence I disagree with. How dare?
Who complained incessantly. And last night, Anaris announced that the studio had gone in a different direction and had recast Yoruichi and redone all of her existing voice lines. It was then revealed that they'd gone straight back to the old voice actress, Wendy Lee.
And Wendy Lee has since put out several tweets that
I'm curious
confirm that she has been very non-graceful in this transition.
Well, basically, there were quite a few voice actors and actresses in the replies to Anaris' tweet announcing that she'd been recast, going, really sorry for you, it must suck, I know how excited you were. That's that sort of thing, being good people. And fucking
showing support for a fellow actress.
And fucking Wendy Lee is in there going, well, it was my role. I made the role iconic. I don't know why you're sorry for this woman.
And the funny part is that Yoruichi's English voice in her human form was one of the most forgettable. If anything, what made Yoruichi iconic was her voice as a cat.
Yeah. No, the worst tweet that Wendy put out though was like, the staff made a simple casting mistake. Viz wants the iconic OG cast intact, which is just like shitty.
Your friend still has roles and will be fine, I'm sure.
Again, very shitty.
Somebody said in reply to Anaris, "Wow, I have many thoughts, but power and the utmost respect for you and for your class. It's clear to me this has nothing to do with your talent. Looking forward to your next killer role." Lee replied, "Nothing whatsoever, but I did establish the role years ago." And it's like, Jesus fucking Christ.
No one cared who was the voice of Yoruichi at that point in time. I'm like literally
the only reason, the biggest reason that Wendy Lee has such a leg up in the field is because she was there near the beginning of the big boom in the early 2000s. And that's it.
Xander Mobus, who P5 Joker voice actor.
Look, you're in good company here. We all know who Xander Mobus is.
And, the iconic Jimmy Firecracker in DBZA.
I see you've also recently watched that episode.
Yep. Said, "I'm so sorry, you were such a good fit, and I'm really disappointed to see this." And she responded, "You're really disappointed, Xander. I see." Like, how just passive-aggressively shitty is that?
Did it not occur to anyone to cut her mic at that point?
No, definitely not.
They really should have just like, it's one of those situations where they're just like,
Xander
cut the mic.
Xander then replied, "Wendy, me being sad because an actor got cast, announced, and then had to deal with a very public recast doesn't mean I hold any ill will towards you. I think the whole thing got way more complicated and toxic than it needed to." She replied, "Recasting is part of the biz, capital T, capital B. It happens. It was a scheduling mistake, but interesting to see how quickly my colleagues are ready to see me off."
Oh my god. The ego and entitlement and persecution complex on this one.
Has she done anything relevant?
Not recently that I can remember.
That honestly explains a lot.
Like, I could look her up right now. I'll do that right now, actually. Millie, you can go ahead and keep playing. You don't have to stop on our account.
Yeah, I'm alright.
Yeah, okay, yeah, let's just, like, roast crappy people for 2 hours. But no, I say that with zero irony. Okay, yes, go ahead.
Okay, so her most recent prominent role was Conan in the 2018 Conan movie.
Oh, she not even like the actor for Conan, just in one of the movies.
Yes. I don't know if she still voices the guy in the main series or not. Other than that, she's mostly just done supporting roles since like the Blue Exorcist anime way back in 2017.
So what you're saying is she's old and busted.
Kinda.
And has not been relevant for, like, literally years.
Correct. She has not been relevant for years. She has only voiced supporting roles in the past several years, and only been a few per year.
I just, ugh.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I'm not sure if she's voiced Conan the whole series either.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think we can firmly establish that sometimes you just, like, just don't give people a platform.
Mm-hmm.
Really is the... And yet, that's what Twitter has done for everyone, isn't that right?
So Twitter, in and of itself, was not inherently a bad idea. The unfortunate thing about Twitter is that it's...
When do you think the death of Twitter began?
I would say with Trump, mainly.
Yeah.
Really, that late?
Yeah.
The Trumpster fire. That was 8 years ago, Fuzzy.
Yeah, but that's, like, relatively close to... That's, like, relatively far from the
To be
birth
fair,
of Twitter.
I'm not even saying when Trump got elected. I mean, Trump started tweeting about shit before that, you know, like 2014, 2015.
Yes, but,
Yeah.
like, people didn't care as much when he wasn't the most powerful man in the world.
Mm-hmm. I think Twitter began its death spiral in earnest, however, with the elongated muskrat.
Mm.
Muskrat... Ah, yes, good old apartheid Clyde.
Yes, I actually prefer that nickname over elongated muskrat, just because it is an insult to elongated muskrats everywhere.
Look, rodents can be very lovable.
Exactly.
Whereas...
They don't deserve the slander of being associated with Musk.
Yes, whereas, that particular individual...
The world's most divorced man.
You know what he reminds me of? That one, the entire sequence where Cell is just breaking down good old Hercule Satan. And is just like, is there anyone in your life who actually cares about you and not for your money or power? And I feel like
I have a daughter. That
that poor orphan.
yes, but like I think especially in like okay, here is a very, like, I feel personally an interesting question, though your mileage may vary, obviously. Do you think the children of rich people are aware of how awful their parents are?
None of them are.
Can you think of any examples? Huh?
One of Musk's children, the one who transitioned, has basically like gone so far as to change her last name to avoid being associated with him, and has publicly disowned him, which is not that shocking.
But yeah, but it's just like I'm one of the courses I'm taking this semester is on children, and
those are fun courses.
Yeah, it's specifically
psychology is a hell of a field.
Especially considering this course in particular is related to traumatized children, and it.
Oh, lovely.
I didn't have much faith in humanity to begin with, but like.
Yeah, if anything will take away your faith in humanity, it's that.
Like oh god. But yes, it said how important your early childhood is to your thoughts and feelings as an adult.
Mm-hmm.
Mill, do you have something to say about that, or?
I mean, mostly I do occasionally think about this sort of thing of sort of how incidents in my childhood, still affect me to this day, and how insane that is.
Oh god, Mill.
I still have my mortifying childhood memories still haunt me.
But listen, my friend, that way lies madness. You do not want to think about that too deeply, because oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't go too deep in it, but it's just a case of occasionally I'll remember it and realize, that's still, that's had big impact on me.
Back.
Right, okay. Cool. That's great. Not the thing that I wish I could, still remember and still be affected by, but okay.
I sometimes worry about things like that, but I've come to realize if I do keep worrying about it, eventually it is going to drive me insane. So
As I said, it's not like a constant thing. It is just something that occurs to me every so often.
But yeah, it's like people are essentially, in large part, they are made by their childhood. Which is somewhat terrifying to think about. But, like...
Especially considering the sort of lack of understanding that people seem to have that that's the case.
Yeah, and, at the very least, there is one thing you can, recall, take solace in, is that it's, like, not incurable. Right? Like, you are not, completely... Like, your childhood does not determine the course of your... Like, it doesn't... Having a bad childhood or, like, bad incidences in childhood does not outright guarantee that bad things will continue happening, like that you can't come back from that. But it's definitely, it makes life a lot harder in many ways.
Yeah.
Which is in particular why early childhood intervention is so important. But getting back to the subject of the rich people kids. Because it's such a pivotal thing, it does make me wonder, are they, like, aware? Like, to what level is their awareness of how crappy their parents can be, and how difficult is it for the child of a rich person to grow up with, like, you know, some basic human decency? You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
Yeah.
it sort of comes back to something we've discussed already, which is the nature and nurture thing.
And how you need both.
Yeah. You know, if... You know, obviously, because I think we agreed that the nurture thing is going to take a hit with rich parents, generally.
Oh,
They tend to be
absolutely.
neglectful at best.
So, you know, in that case, you know, there needs to be a fair amount of nature in there. But, you know, it might also depend on the personality of the nanny the rich people get to look after their kids, because they're obviously too busy and too important to do so.
I will also say this. It's not just the environment, but also the, like, children are more susceptible to propaganda than adults. I don't think that's a controversial statement.
Nope.
I'm sure there are people who will find a way to make it controversial, but I'm pretty sure it's just objectively not. But yeah, because children are more susceptible to propaganda than adults, it is much more likely for children to buy into the whole prosperity gospel, essentially.
Which is a load of bullshit, even before you realize, like, it's the opposite of what's taught in the Bible.
Yeah, no, the basically every religious text is like, hey, yo, it's nice to live in, you can live comfortably, but, like, don't be like a evil dragon creature.
One Bible passage is literally, it is easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to enter heaven.
Didn't they just build a tunnel called the Needle's Eye that they could fit a camel through?
No, actually. That is a story that was made up around the 9th century. So, about 900 years after, 800 plus years after the fact. Like, there is no evidence that such a gate in Jerusalem existed.
Well, no, that's my point. Rich people built it so that they could, you know, feel better about, you know, being rich.
I don't think there's any evidence that it was actually built, but the story that it did exist was spread, in part, no small part.
Well, the thing that makes it so much more convincing is that is absolutely the sort of crap rich people would spend their money on.
Even so, like, the whole story about, like, oh, they actually had a gate that it's called the Eye of the Needle, and any camel that had anything on its back had to take it off. That still works as a metaphor for what was said in the Bible, because it's like they have to remove all their possessions, and they have to forfeit the ability to carry those possessions in order to get in.
Something like, you can't take it with you.
Yeah, you can't take it with you. And it's like they're still missing the point. Like, they're bending over backwards to try to justify their obscene wealth, and it's like, there is no justification for this. You are just wrong. Stop hoarding money from people, you colossal assholes.
Oh, just going back to the Bleach thing.
Oh no.
Sorry, no, this is a this is a good thing, but this is how it should have been handled. Because Jameson Price willingly stepped down from the role of Chad in Bleach.
Yep.
Good old Chad.
Saying that
I still have like some concerns regarding whether or not Chad's existence is like racist on Kubo's part.
but
Because he's like, okay, go ahead.
either way, Jameson Price outright said, "I no longer audition for roles of people of color," and welcomed the new actor in.
Honestly, it is
Probably the best way to go about it.
no, but it's tragic that is an achievement. I'm not trying to underplay his achievement. It's great in the modern era. It is excellent and like commendable that he did that, but at the same time, it's tragic that you get what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah, no, I agree.
There's just like so much wrong with that. I don't even know where to begin. Essentially. But yeah, let's talk about this subject a little bit. And it is definitely going to be a little bit spicy.
Oh.
Oh boy.
Are there Japanese media that handle people of color well?
Yes.
There are.
Okay, Run with the Wind is the
Run with
biggest
the Wind.
example I can think of off the top of my head.
Run
It's
with
like
the
a very
Wind, I do love that because they instantly addressed it of, look, just because I'm from Africa doesn't mean I'm good at long distance running. Shut the fuck up. I'm bad at it.
Azokin also has a woman of color as one of the main supporting characters.
Multiple ones, actually.
Right.
Well, are they okay? And here's another problem: the general Japanese fetishization of people of color. Are they actual people of color, or are they that one subculture who I can never?
Gyaru.
Yeah, I never know if it's that or if it's just gal.
It's pronounced either way.
No, I've been told that there's a difference between the two. I don't know what the difference is, but I have been told that there does exist a difference between the two, so I have no idea.
Either way,
Regardless.
I believe actual. I mean, if nothing else, Domeki does not have the personality for that subculture, let's say. And I think student council vice president. I don't think she's the president.
No, she's the VP, I think.
But like, are you seeing the commonalities between those two? They're both series that are already sort of lauded as being
good. Yes,
very good. Yeah,
very good. So
yeah, I get your point.
Did you see where I'm coming from? Like the existence of the fact that dark elves exist in the form that they do in many modern media, especially of the Japanese varietal, is shocking.
Like, there's nothing in and of itself that's wrong with having dark-skinned elves. The issue is just like how they are very excessively fetishized. Yes.
And they're like and also the whole thing of like there's just this whole combination of like culturally ingrained dismissal slash sort of distaste. I don't even know if distaste is the right word. There's this culturally ingrained this is called racism, but also fetishization of people with darker skin in Japan and a lot of parts of Asia, though it varies. But Japan is where the fetishization is the most prevalent, from my experience. Though again, that's, you know, Japan.
It's not inaccurate. I'm trying to look.
But yeah, it's just like for example, Chad in Bleach, we were talking about, his literal existence, he has won 2 fights in the series. Both of them against jobbers.
No, they're not against. Well, 2 fights he wins, you mean?
Yes. The 2 fights he's won in the series are against jobbers. Every other fight he's lost. And not just lost, miserably.
He's got to do his job. But yes, no, you are correct. He is very mistreated.
And it's kind of like...
I mean, Okubo is an author that does include quite a few black characters, both in Soul Leader and Fire Force.
Yep.
Yeah, but Okubo has his own set of... Okubo has his own set of problems.
He does.
Yeah, but the racism is not one of them, fortunately. It's more sexism on his part, but that's a whole other topic. The 2 most recent Gundam series, Iron Blood and Orphans and Witch from Mercury, both had a fair amount of people of color in the cast, and both were quite good about handling them, from what I recall.
But also, Fuzzy, you were looking for series that weren't necessarily considered good, but had well-handled black characters.
Yes, and I don't think that is a thing that exists.
Probably not.
I mean...
Fire Force is probably the closest.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Fire Force has so many other issues.
That's the point! It's not a good series, but it has literally just given you what you wanted, yeah!
This is what you're looking for, man! I don't know what else to tell you.
Has it ever occurred to you that even I don't know what I'm looking for?
So you still haven't found what you're looking for? Like in that U2 song?
It's U2! Okay! I have heard very, mixed things about U2, not in the sense of, the quality of their music, but in the sense of the fandom. Do people love U2 or hate U2? Is it cool to love or hate U2? What is U2's entire bag?
So U2 is a very popular band from the 80s. Most of the people who really like them are Gen Xers.
Are they from the 80s?
Yeah.
Wow,
I'm pretty sure.
Are we outing you, Mil?
I like U2. I grew up in the late 90s, early 2000s.
I mean, again, those who have the biggest glass houses should live in the first stones. But,
also, a thing that people don't seem to think about too much, a lot of people inherit musical tastes from their parents.
Yes, I was gonna say, I grew up on Bon Jovi and Phil Collins. Well, Phil Collins is pretty okay, but I grew up on Bon Jovi, so...
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about their good songs.
See, my tastes have evolved to be a lot more hard rock than my parents' tastes. And my brother leans more towards, reggae and punk and stuff than my parents do.
I was gonna,
knowing your
he
brother...
likes stoner music.
Knowing your brother,
Yes.
That doesn't surprise me.
No,
Yeah.
that's... Look.
It would not be inaccurate to say he likes stoner music, yes.
Look, Dylan's great, but he He knows what he's about. We know what he's about. It's not shocking. Also, the other thing I was going to talk about. Do y'all have any professors you had a good relationship with?
I had a good relationship with some of my professors. Most of my professors I didn't really talk to that much because I wasn't that kind of student.
Now here's the question. You're saying you don't like hang around after office hours and just chat with your professor about like subject matter outside of the course material and then make them like you and then disappoint them when you're not able to perform in the course as well as you do during your discussions?
That sounds quite pointed. And I think it's
very
pointed.
specific.
It feels very pointed towards yourself, Fuzzy.
Look, they never outright said they were disappointed in me, but I was disappointed in me, and as a result, I never showed my faces in front of them again. So
you are way too hard on yourself.
Anyway,
I was probably one of the students that talked a fair amount with my professor. Well, with my lecturers.
I talked a decent amount with mine.
Why make that distinction, Mil? Like, what is the distinction in there in your mind?
The people I was taught by at university didn't have the job title professor, or the title in general professor.
I feel like in my world, you just call every university teacher professor, even if they're like a TA. If they're the main lecturer for your course, you just call them professor. That's just like, I don't know, it just feels like good manners to me.
I mean, I think we just called them by their first name.
I can never do that. I have never done that, and I probably will never do that. It's just like, I grew up in a very sort of, my household was like, okay, in consideration of the fact that my mother is a teacher, I grew up in a respect your teacher's household.
I mean,
and as a
my mom was a teacher.
No, but in my household, the way you respect them was by being formal at all times, even if they ask you not to be. And it is something that has been ingrained in me since childhood, even though it's not necessarily the best.
Fair enough, I guess. But yeah, I feel like it would have felt weird given how generally informal they were to call them like Dr. Craig or Dr. White.
See, if they're all doctors, then they're professors in my mind.
Fair enough, but as I said, I generally just called them by their first name. I mean, especially my dissertation supervisor, I got on really well with. And we would, especially, when we were having discussions about my dissertation, I would, I wouldn't say teach him about anime, but I would, explain anime stuff to him. We know what you mean. Given that that's what my dissertation was about, which is still so wild to me.
Pretty incredible, honestly.
So here's my follow-up.
That guy gave me a fucking shout out at like the end of year Zoom meeting to congratulate us on dissertations, going, congratulations to my name for managing to find a dissertation subject where he could just watch TV shows and play video games for his research.
That is honestly pretty wild.
You've kind of like won at bachelor's degrees, honestly. Like, you just can't, that's unambiguously, you have just won your bachelor's.
Yep.
Because, I watched, what was it, Young Nobunaga, the anime, I watched Drifters, the anime, read Golden Kamuy, read One Piece, watched Spirited Away. I didn't rewatch Sarazanma. I didn't feel the need. I already knew what butt stuff was about.
Butt stuff, drugs. Don't forget the drugs. The drugs are a very important component.
But yeah, I wrote about fucking Sarazanma in my fucking dissertation. Sarazanmai! And I, played fucking Neo and Persona 5 for it, so...
Well, no, the other thing I was going to bring up is that again, I will never let you live down the fact that I single-handedly kept Sarazanmai alive.
Yeah, no, you were right to do so. I think I was still right to kill it, but I'm glad it survived because I ended up enjoying it.
Yep.
Look, I'm just surprised that the most asexual person, relatively speaking, in the cast was the one who recognized the value of the butt stuff the earliest.
Mm-hmm. I getcha.
But anyway, let's not take that horribly out of context in any way.
What context?
But
I see what you did there.
no, that was unintentional. The pause was me realizing what I did and laughing, and then immediately realizing I am just a child. Like, I'm like 12. Do you ever remember when we laughed for like an hour or like laughed for a solid 10 minutes at a single like poop joke?
I think so, yes.
I mean, I remember actually, like, nearly suffocating from laughter at all those fucking J.K. Rowling jokes back when she revealed the whole wizards just shat in their pants and vanished it before toilets.
Oh yeah, no, I remember.
There are so many things wrong with that. I can't even begin. Like,
I mean, yeah, it's absolutely insane, but it resulted in so many, like, absolutely stupid and insane tweets. Like, I think the one that got me so much was fucking Hagrid buying feet pics. I was genuinely dying for so long of laughter, just, like, spread-eagled on my bed, just, like, trying to breathe. Because it was just so dumb.
Yup.
And now her tweets are just dumb and not funny.
Yeah, now they're actually dangerous. Bad. Oh, well.
Said here before, and we'll say it here again, fuck J.K. Rowling.
Fuck transphobes and
like,
other bigots
not
in general.
literally.
Yeah, not literally. But yeah, like...
Why would you take it literally?
Look, some people are weird, okay?
But yeah,
I mean, accurate, but...
Quite frankly, all bigots can just go die in a hole for all I care. I wish they would sometimes. Most of the time.
No. What we need to do is we need to send them all to an island in the middle of nowhere and see how long they last.
Create bigger island, like Leper Island.
Look, when he's right, he's right.
Quite frankly, the lepers were like... I'd rather have the lepers than the bigots.
I mean, we can treat the lepers.
In the modern era.
Even then, I would still prefer the lepers. It's not like it was their fault.
No, exactly. But another thing I was gonna mention is that, well, the reason I came into, I began this topic of conversation in the first place was, now the second last question, and then I'll ask a single follow-up question. Of those professors that you had a decent relationship with, do any of them have socials? And if so, would they be on our podcast and chill it?
I have not interacted with any of my professors in years.
There was one I think we could have had on, but he's not on social media anymore. Because genuinely, one of my lecturers, Malcolm, was actually a game designer, like a tabletop game designer.
Ooh.
So I genuinely think
we
if we
can still have them on the podcast if they're willing. It would just be nice for the exposure. I do, in fact, have a single professor. We can talk about that after the stream, but I do, in fact, have a single professor for whom that may be relevant and possible. So, remind me of that. Because I like... Look... Perhaps one day we will make it big and people will look back on this episode as like a game changer. But I do think there's a viable possibility for us to gain guest stars that can enable cross-pollination.
Yeah, maybe.
Also, just going back to my dissertation for a second, I was supposed to have a section on twin star exorcists and the real life spiritualism, religion, whatever that is actually at the core of their magic system. Unfortunately, the one source that I managed to find about it explicitly said there are not many sources about this.
That's
unfortunate.
Which I was like, do you think I could just quote that and get away with not referencing anything?
I think interestingly, that is one thing where you would actually legitimately have to go to Japan and interview people.
I would. I absolutely would have had to do that, and I did not have the ability to do that. A, don't speak Japanese. B, pandemic.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Either one of those would do it, honestly, but the fact that both happened at the same time was the real kicker.
I mean, there were... I was talking about what was it, Ishikawa Goemon. In reference to him being, I think it's Yusuke's first persona in P5, right?
Yeah, yes, he is.
Mm-hmm.
And, I had to basically say, there's not really any sources about his life. The two main ones that I could find in terms of, primary sources, of them, one was in Spanish, which I don't speak, and the other was in Japanese, which I don't speak.
That is a very funny situation to be in.
And yeah, no, I outright put that in my footnotes. Look, there aren't many sources about this guy for me to really say what he was like and what he did, but the ones that are, I can't read. So you're just gonna have to take it on faith.
Mm-hmm.
Source, dude, just trust me.
And
hey, source, trust me, bro.
Hey, I got a first on that, so a pretty strong one as well.
So that's what, an A+?
Yeah, that's the highest grade. Because it goes first, 2-1, 2-2.
This is confusing. Why can you not just have I'm not... Jack, back me up here.
Yeah, no, the letter grading system is much easier to understand. It is so much more intuitive, I'm sorry.
Not even... No, not even, just the letter grading system. I'm saying, even if you just, have a... just first, second, third, don't overcomplicate it that much.
You don't like you don't like the 2-1, 2-2 system?
No! So weird.
It's a little weird, yeah. I also learned that you kind of have to try to plagiarize.
Okay. Elaborate on this before you are brought before the council.
What council? I got my degree already. They can't do anything to me.
Legally, they can't do anything to you. But you're forgetting the sheer number of illegal things they can do to you.
Basically, like there was one in particular, one essay in particular that I did, and I think first year, where I had very, very few sources, and I didn't feel like I'd referenced a lot at all, and yet I still didn't get like anything, like I didn't, get called up for plagiarizing. Like, I think you actually have to, like, outright copy and paste something.
Yeah, that tracks.
I think if you're able to... Obviously, don't do it, like, a huge amount, but if you are, like, actually careful about it and reword it in your own words, then you should be fine.
Sounds about right.
But then again, I was just better at the whole university academia thing than I ever thought I would be, so...
Sounds about right.
Thanks, sixth form.
You have no idea how many times I just straight up bullshitted essays and got A's on them.
Oh no,
college.
I did as well. So
as
many
it turns
times.
As it turns out, bullshitting is quite easy.
Yeah.
It's the art of doing it well that's really tricky.
Meanwhile, I'm an average student at best, sitting here with apparently the overachievers, and I feel betrayed.
Sorry, Fuzzy.
We're not overachievers. We half-assed so much.
And yet still got the grades, which I think is the point.
Yes, no, that's what I mean by overachievers. If you can half-ass it and still get the grades, then you are overachievers in my book.
You know what? That's fair.
To be fair, I wouldn't say I half-assed it. I put the effort in. It's just the fact that I didn't really know. I felt like I didn't know what I was doing.
Oh no, same.
And
What
yet,
percentage
what I did was apparently quite good.
What percentage of your ass would you say you used?
I would say at least a good 85 to 90%.
That's
I
like...
rarely went past 75% of my ass. Sometimes I went all the way to 90%, and on a couple occasions I actually whole-assed it.
Well, the issue is, I still don't know what the fuck counts as analysis.
No, I don't. So, okay, you know what here's the dirty little secret. I don't think even the professors know what counts as analysis. I think they just use their best guess.
And like, I have had a complex about it for so long, because when I did exams back in high school and sixth form, like, I would always get told, oh, you're too narrative, you need more analysis. And so I got a massive complex about it.
It's just such helpful feedback.
Yeah. And, to a certain extent, they were probably right. I probably focused on just retelling events too much, but, that didn't help me figure out what the fuck analysis was. And so, I just sort of worked myself up into a worry and just went, all right, I've got to write something down. Here it is. I don't know how I'm going to do on this one. Oh, I did quite well.
On a slightly, less anxiety-inducing topic, isn't it wild that what were they smoking when people thought, you know what would go hard? Bloodborne, but Pinocchio.
Oh, Lies of P, yeah.
And it's even more ridiculous that they were, 100% correct.
Which one's this?
Lies of P.
Pinocchio Souls.
Yeah. There's a game called Lies of P that is basically just Dark Souls, but with a Pinocchio theme.
That sounds metal as fuck.
Yeah, it's on Game Pass.
I don't have Game Pass.
It's not
really
just Dark Souls. You really should at this point, Jack. You're actively missing out.
Games enough to justify it.
I mean,
my thing.
Well, if you play one AAA title every month, you are already justifying
I
it.
play games that often.
I mean, if you play one AAA title every 6 months, you're kind of justifying it.
Once again, I do not play video games that often.
My brother
I am
in
not
Christ,
a
it is the year of our Lord
gamer.
2023, and you're not a boomer. What's going on with you?
Video games are just not
you
my
okay?
preferred medium. I enjoy video games, and I play them occasionally, but they're not my preferred medium.
You know, somehow, this had never occurred to me before. I didn't realize we knew someone who's not a gamer, TM. I'm not like saying that as any. Please don't take that as a knock. I'm just like, it's very uncommon in the modern day.
I'm
is
just
what I'm trying
not.
to say.
I'm not as gaming oriented as most of the people we have on. You know?
Yeah, and what I'm trying to say is that is not something that you expect in this day and age.
Yeah, it's not. But it happens. It happens.
Allegedly.
I mean, I'm proof right here.
Not until it's proven in a court of law. Look, I don't make the rules, Jack. If
I know
anything,
you don't.
If anything, I break quite a few rules.
Yes. Yes, you do.
Look, I know I do, but why you gotta say it like that?
Fits tonally.
But yeah, I do have a professor who is both on socials and maybe willing to be on one of our podcasts. We just have to pick the topic well.
Well, that sounds like a problem for later dates.
And by later date, we mean after the stream, where we will discuss it at length. Because I am
super jazzed.
Somewhat invested, I would say. Which to many people is the same thing. Okay, the reason I've been harping on about this recently is quite simple. I've been looking at metrics and analytics recently, which I know it could be potentially devastating, but the reason I bring that up is because while the quantity is small, there does exist a non-zero proportion of the streaming population that began recently and still got something of a following. So it's not that, like, it's impossible to make it as, or not even make it, but just like get an audience as a streamer anymore. It's more that it's just harder, but it is still within the realm of possibility, shall we say.
Good to know.
Because, like, I feel like our content is interesting. The problem is we don't have enough of an audience to, you know, make that in any way relevant.
Yeah, that tracks.
But yeah, I do somewhat look forward to having, like, okay, I would want to start by saying I do enjoy all of our co-hosts who show up, and we do have a fair number of them by this point.
Yeah, no, we have a pretty consistent number of
Like-
co-hosts.
And like that's actually that in and of itself is actually kind of unusual. I don't know if you're aware of that, but like generally, streams as small as ours don't consistently have as many regular co-hosts.
Huh, didn't know that.
But
Guess we are fortunate in that regard.
yeah, like we've got a pretty like decent tight-knit community. But they are just like us, complete amateurs. I don't think any of us have ever like disputed that fact.
Nope.
And as a result, I'm like very interested to see what we could, what sort of conversations we could end up having if we were in, if we actually brought on some like professionals or like more well-known people.
Definitely
be-
something.
It would have to be an interview format, I think.
I think a good idea would be check out some podcasts that do interviews.
I
Because-
have, because I'm listening to a lot of them for my course for one of my courses this semester.
One that I've listened to a lot recently is Pod Save America. They do a lot of good interviews on that one. I think they do like at least one interview per week on that podcast. It is fairly focused on American social and political issues, but U.S. American rather. But it's still worth checking out, at the very least, if you're remotely interested in that
But
subject.
what I've learned is that the podcast host does not necessarily need to be qualified in the subject
no.
they're talking about. Which
No,
is
it honestly
probably
kind of
very good
helps.
for us.
It
If
honestly
you're-
kind of helps if they are inexperienced in that situation, because, like, in that case, it means they ask more questions about stuff they don't know about.
So what you're saying is Mill's going to be great on the psychology podcasts.
Yep.
You can no longer get out of this, Mill. I'm sorry.
Great. Okay.
Don't worry about it. You'll be fine.
Sure.
But yes.
Especially in consideration of the fact that, but I do think we can put our own media spin on it. Like, we can have, like, half of the interview questions could be, like, relevant to the field, and the other half could be, with how it relates to media.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Indeed.
Why I gotta say indeed like that?
Because it's funny.
Is it?
No, probably not, but still.
But yeah, I am of the opinion that eventually we're gonna be able to come up with some interesting guest stars. So, or guest hosts. Co-hosts? What do you call these people?
Usually guests or, usually guests.
Logically, I understand that that's what they're called, but for some reason, I don't know. For some reason, it just doesn't feel right.
Alright, take it how you want, dude.
But, I'm very curious to see some of the questions that Mill can come up with. Though we will have to probably come up with a list of topic-relevant questions in advance so we don't have any dead air.
Oh, yeah, no, of course.
We're going to have the Google Doc open the entire time.
Probably a smart idea. But yes, anything else you want to talk about on this here casting of pods?
Well, just the fact that eventually we are going to like be able to justifiably rehash topics, I think.
Yeah.
Because I think there is a value to be had in follow-up podcasts and maybe like topics based on where we are now as opposed to where we were then. Oh, by the way, did you have a chance to talk to Laura about the incest podcast on Valentine's Day next year?
I have not. I will have to ask. I am 100% positive that this will go over. Definitely not like a lead balloon. No siree.
Listen. If you want, I can bring it up.
No, I'll ask him.
No. There's actually... I do actually have a legitimate, genuine suggestion, though.
Uh-huh.
We should bring it up in voice chat rather than through text, because I feel like that's one of those things that is much better brought up in voice than text.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. 100%.
How long have we been going?
1 hour 51:45.
I feel like we've about tapped out.
I think we lost momentum at this stage. I think we're good.
I mean, honestly, given that this was a pseudo impromptu stream where we really had no solid sort of goal coming in, it's quite good that we managed to last this long with minimum dead air.
Yep, that is true.
I do wonder, we should, you know what y'all should do at some point?
Mm-hmm.
Go back and listen to some of our earlier streams, and then listen to one of our newer streams and just like look at the difference, because I'm pretty sure we've Yerened it to a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? Leave a cut of the same size and a slightly larger rock each time.
Mm-hmm.
On the subject of yearning something, I did use a yearnism in a tweet about rugby.
Those are very fun.
I find it funny that Yerenisms are Will White's least favorite part of writing the Cradle books.
Because they're so difficult to write, I imagine. They're probably like really hard to come up with a bunch of unique ones that are funny.
To be fair, he didn't help himself when he made up a fucking blooper about doing a bunch of them.
Oh no, that was 100% on him.
He hindered himself in that occasion.
Yeah, he really should have known better by that point in his life.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well.
Yeah, are we wrapping up then?
I think we're wrapping up.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Alright then, thank you everybody for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed us rambling on and on and on and on and on and on and on.
So on and so forth.
In terms of future stuff, Tuesday I believe is going to be the Death Stranding stream.
That is the plan last I checked.
I am so looking forward to throwing Norman Reedus bathwater at Eldritch Guillermo del Toro monsters.
Thursday, not sure, probably going to be a later stream. or one without me. I'm not really sure what we've decided on that.
We can do as much as we'd prefer not to. We can do those now because I can stream without my computer breaking into a mess.
It wouldn't necessarily be 1,000 pieces. It'd be more a big melted piece.
It would be one single large melted piece. Yes.
Yeah. Saturday is the fall anime 3+ episode check-in. Some very
That's
good shows.
gonna be fun.
Good luck with that.
Some very good shows this season, and a lot of shows this season still.
Very stacked season, yes.
We didn't get rid of that many from the from this.
Again, a very stacked season.
Yeah. And then next Sunday,
Yes,
We'll figure
exactly.
something out. Oh, you know what? We could just get started on the character tier list.
yeah, we can do that. Yeah. Otherwise, again, thank you for watching. Please do follow us here on Twitch and all that YouTube stuff. I still have too much dignity to say.
Like, subscribe, ring the bell, give us a follow, a comment. Please give us engagement.
And
We
otherwise,
Yes, go on.
and otherwise, we hope to see you on Tuesday for more Norman Reedus and his wacky walking adventures. Good night.
Later.
Bye.